when the A-list celebrity helped adjust my ear mic. He instinctively kissed my hair. We both froze. Because this was happening on a divorce reality show. We came from different married couples. After divorcing Ethan, everyone assumed I'd cling desperately. He'd announced our marriage at the peak of his career, when he successfully reinvented himself and finally won awards. People still dragged me into conversations. Why does she deserve this? She's so lucky, they'd whisper. I was the one who filed for divorce. But he'd been waiting for this longer. When his new co-star Ivy started wearing his jacket, using his phone case, playing house with him on set, I kept counting days until his return home, only to have him hang up repeatedly citing work. Until that day I encountered Ivy in first class. She beamed at me with saccharine warmth. You know? She whispered, her breath hot against my ear. This flight's charged to his platinum card. She wanted this. Wanted to force my hand. I obliged. Packing my entire life into half an hour. I don't keep second-hand goods. Thank God we never had children. Ethan leaned against the doorway watching me leave. His voice stayed flat. Anything else you want? Your phone. He blinked but handed it over immediately. During our best years, when I'd stood by him from obscurity to fame, my contact had always been his sole favorite. Now replaced. Reduced to muted notifications. The divorce settlement gave me everything he'd earned. His only condition being swift closure. I'm truly in love with Ivy, he'd said. After signing the NDA, I thought we were done. Until his call came 1 month post-divorce. We need to meet. I arrived early. In the green room, Ethan's agent was lecturing him. You're still the hottest leading man. She's just some nobody waiting to become a punchline. She'll jump at any chance to win you back. Promise her this couples therapy show. Let her grovel. Then we'll edit it to make her look desperate. Fans will eat up your heartbroken act. The agent nudged him. You listening? Ethan kept gaming with his legs propped up. Grunting, yeah. Bet if you crooked your finger, she'd come crawling back like some grateful stray. In the conference room, Ethan idly spun his phone. He barely spoke 3 sentences. I said yes. I went on a reality show. He stared into my eyes, pausing before asking, are you really that obsessed with me? His overconfidence made him easy to manipulate. I lowered my lashes. Yes. Ethan, is there still a chance for us? His gaze turned frosty as he looked away, murmuring, depends on your behavior. Then he added, but this show's script isn't what you think. This divorce-themed reality program. It would air during Ethan's new drama's promotion period with Ivy to boost their on-screen chemistry. The show's premise involved couples swapping lifestyles to address marital issues. Ivy would share a room with Ethan while I'd be paired with her husband Lucas, the prodigy who skyrocketed to fame at 19 with an award-sweeping performance before abruptly retiring to marry. Ethan had essentially built his career mimicking Lucas' 70% similar looks. Rumors claimed Ivy and Lucas lived separately since marriage, their relationship strained by unrequited affection. At the Hot Springs Resort, 2 adjacent rooms became our stage for this live-streamed spectacle. The observation lounge buzzed while viewer comments flooded the screens. Ethan and Ivy sharing a room? This is wild. Their chemistry's off the charts. Always knew his marriage was doomed. Who'd stay with dead weight? Been waiting for their divorce. He must have been blind. Marrying her back then. The crew fitted Ethan and Ivy with heart rate monitor bracelets. Reach 70 BPM and you could leave the room. They'll break it instantly. Yet both stalled at 68. Privately intimate. Publicly restrained, their practiced avoidance too deliberate. Ivy's being so proper. Keeping her distance. Stop holding back. Ethan. We're rooting for you. Ivy lingered by the doorway while Ethan brooded on the balcony, his sightline barely grazing my assigned room. Lucas hadn't arrived yet. Alone on the bed, My own monitor bracelet blinked expectantly. The knock came from a tall figure in a baseball cap. Damp strands clinging to his forehead from the misty drizzle outside. Night's chill clung to him like second skin. My first love is back. Well, this puts Ethan to shame. No comparisons needed. You need to put this on. I handed the other heartbeat monitor watch to Lucas. Ethan hated when people said he resembled Lucas. During our first married year, we wandered midnight streets when I froze before Lucas' colossal luxury brand billboard. Ethan shoved his cap over my eyes, blocking the view. Of course you'd go for that look, he remarked sourly. Now, on the adjacent balcony, Ethan watched Lucas enter the room, close the door, and fasten the watch. Ethan didn't mind. He'd known since that night the untouchable, envy-inducing Lucas was shackled to Ivy through corporate marriage. Lucas didn't even like Ivy, much less someone as ordinary as me. Divorced. Unremarkable. The kind he'd never glance at. Ethan snorted dismissively. Yet his gaze dissected my every micro-expression. Hello, Olivia. My monitor read 50 as I extended my hand. Hello, Lucas. His palm met mine. The watch shrieked. Lucas' numbers skyrocketed. He remained impassive. Faulty device. Right. New watches worked fine. Ethan and Ivy cleared 70 through cooperative games. Exiting early. On our side. Lucas' pulse stayed at 25. Pathetic. If we never spike. I asked staff. Do we sleep here? Lucas heard. Broad shoulders tensed under black hoodie. Gaze distant. Failure at 1 hour. Came the reply. We emerged last. Total flop. Zero chemistry. Cut their screen time. Just show Ivy/Ethan. Live comments roasted US until sign off. Backstage chaos. Camera crews. Flashing lights. Ethan leaned against the wall watching Ivy's interview. His gaze snagged mine. Thrilling? He materialized beside me. That split-second hope he'd want you? I turned. He blocked my path. No what? Olivia? Hands in pockets. Head tilted. Divorcing you? Best decision ever. Staff passed. Ethan straightened. Instant transformation wounded romantic persona intact. It seems I was the one who hurt him the most. Ivy finished her interview and walked up to me under everyone's gaze. Taking my hand. Olivia, she said. An old red string tied around her wrist. You should cherish Ethan. He truly loves you. That red string. I'd seen it before. Last year on our wedding anniversary. Ethan was followed by a stalker fan and got into a minor car accident. He was unharmed. I dragged him up the mountain to pray for blessings, closing my eyes and wishing nothing but his safety. When I opened them, he'd bought a red string. I thought it was for me, but he said he got it for himself to ease my worries. Now, it was on Ivy's wrist. Stop making a scene, Ivy said on camera. I want you two to work out more than anyone. I didn't say a word. Ethan didn't know. Ivy didn't either. The truth was, I'd agreed to join this reality show for another unspoken reason. That day, when I closed my eyes, Ethan wasn't who I was thinking of. The show filmed on weekends, built around the weekend couple gimmick. On weekdays, I returned to my old career, trying to become an agent again at the entertainment conglomerate. Lucas and Ivy had divorced. My former boss told me he'd signed a 10-year contract with her father's company under the Thompson family, and now he could finally terminate it. He's rebuilding his studio, he said. I recommended you. Following the address he gave, I found Lucas at a film set. His profile was backlit. Sharp features defiant, a face made for the screen. He was harder to approach than I'd imagined. I waited outside for what felt like hours until his assistant rushed out. Sorry, Olivia. We can't meet today. My car broke down on the way back. 11 p.m. Middle of nowhere. Rain pouring. I stood under an umbrella waiting for the tow truck. Cars passed like shadowy ghosts in the night. None stopped for me. Headlights flared ahead. The window of a black van rolled down. Lucas's assistant said, "Olivia, get in." Lucas sat in the back. Baseball cap pulled low over his sleeping face. His breathing was faint. Long legs slightly bent. The space seemed cramped for his frame. The van was cluttered with junk. 2 suit jackets hanging by the window. Crisp pine scent, the same fragrance from when he'd held my hand. "Olivia." I'm grabbing water at the gas station up ahead. "Want any?" The assistant whispered. "Just call me Olivia," I said. "I'll come with you." He waved me off. "I'll go. Be right back." The door shut, leaving only Lucas and me inside. There was no one else around. No cameras either. The car's headlights flickered faintly, casting dim shadows inside the vehicle. Even with a row of seats between us, his breath felt unnervingly close, as if whispering in my ear. I stared at the convenience store glowing blue in the distance where our assistant lingered by the shelves. I remembered that time at the grocery store when we'd seen Ivy's advertisement. "She's so beautiful," I'd told Ethan back then. His response had been lukewarm. "She's all right." I hadn't realized. This all right would become the reason he stopped coming home night after night. Later, I'd learned from others that Ivy had been his first love. They'd broken up when his career stalled. He never got over her. But in that supermarket, he'd simply changed the subject with practiced ease. Asking "Baby, were you really single before me?" "No. At least." That's what I'd told everyone, including him. In the car now, someone was kicking my calf. The long legs stretching from the back seat weren't accidental. This was deliberate mischief. That same childish, rhythmic nudging I remembered. I shifted my legs beyond his reach. Didn't speak. Didn't turn around. Maintained my posture like nothing had happened. "Olivia." His voice carried the rasp of recent sleep, brimming with that reckless adolescent energy he'd never outgrown. Long time no see. All these years later. Why did he still say my name like that? Like we were back in that cramped, humid apartment, drowning again and again in those hands that promised tenderness yet always crossed boundaries with desperate hunger. After that day, Lucas and I stopped contacting each other, until the new weekend arrived with its rotating reality show format. This week would revert to the original married couples pairing. Director. Ivy's tone dripped with performative concern. The picture of professionalism. The audience demand for Ethan and me is overwhelming. Switching back now would get you crucified online. The director hesitated. But Ethan? Ivy turned with rehearsed grace, addressing him directly in front of me. "Who are you choosing tonight?" She'd been waiting for this moment. The things born in darkness always crave validation in the spotlight. Ethan understood her game. His gaze deliberately swept over my face before he lounged back in his seat. "Is there even a choice? The viewers can't stand seeing her anymore." Having secured her victory, Ivy smiled at me. "You don't mind, do you, Olivia? However, you've been a housewife too long with little work experience. You probably don't realize viewers' approval matters most. Let's prioritize the bigger picture." "Fine," I stated bluntly. Ethan looked up at me. They all expected me to make a scene. That way, my reaction could be edited into bonus content to highlight Ivy's considerate nature. No one anticipated my compliance. Ivy stood there awkwardly, her rehearsed lines stuck in her throat before finally forcing out, "Good. No take-backs then." I replied, "Let's keep it this way from now on." Her smile faltered momentarily before she twirled her hair. Murmuring, "Trying to make Ethan jealous? Everyone knows you joined the show to win him back." Too bad he's unfazed while you watch him enter my suite. The production team announced they'd maintain last week's pairing. Before leaving, Ethan teased Ivy, not worried about her staying with Lucas. The name visibly startled Ivy. She laughed incredulously. Lucas? That Ice King? Lock him up for a year and he still wouldn't glance her way. They exchanged knowing smirks. Ethan deliberately removed his coat and draped it over Ivy's shoulders in front of me. Olivia, if you want me back, these petty tricks won't work. He wanted to provoke me into public meltdown, positioning himself as the victim. The winning couple was escorted to their luxury villa reward. Ivy tweeted photos of their candlelit dinner. The live chat was flooded with viewers shipping them. I scrolled through these updates in the production van heading to the old district. If their chemistry ratings don't improve tonight, they'll get eliminated, right? They won't cut Lucas. His star power guarantees a partner swap at worst. Why'd Lucas agree to this trashy show anyway? The messier the better. Bet something wild's gonna happen. If those two hook up, I'll eat shit live on camera. I put away my phone. Where are Lucas and I staying tonight? The crew member gestured at the crumbling apartment complex we'd stopped before. Punishment for worst chemistry score. Only the van's rear camera captured my exit-a-distance silhouette without audio. I stood before the peeling doorway, listening to rested hinges groan. My mind went blank for a few seconds. I pulled out my phone and called my best friend Olivia, who also happened to be my former boss. She greeted me with long time no see. Right now, I desperately needed her to pour cold water on my delusions. So? She said. Exactly as predicted. Let's be real, who doesn't have exes? With all his options. Why would he choose you? A divorced woman? Because of those few months you leaned on each other? Be honest, that was the lowest point of his life. Who'd want to relive that? She was right. I hung up and twisted the doorknob. Lucas stood on a ladder adjusting the overhead light, his movements causing his shirt to ride up and reveal those familiar lean muscles. Exactly like when he'd worn waist harnesses during film shoots. Back when his injuries required constant bandaging. The vintage tungsten bulb flickered in his hands before steadying. The scene felt too intimate. I lingered in the doorway. Dinner, he said without looking up. His casual tone making my nervousness seem disproportionate. Maybe I was overthinking. To him, this reality show was probably just damage control after his divorce. Snow fell outside as he moved around the kitchen island preparing hot pot. His tall frame and sharp features softened by the domesticity. He exuded the comforting vibe of a family man. I snapped a photo of his back and posted it on Twitter, fulfilling the production team's requirement. After eating, he didn't let me clean up. With practiced efficiency, he washed dishes, then inexplicably started making my bed, though there was only one in the room. I'll take the floor, he said. Does your back injury need redressing? I can handle it. When I emerged from the shower, a thin quilt already lay folded on the floor. Lucas was digging through his suitcase for bandages. I averted my eyes and grabbed my phone. Ethan's voice message notification popped up. My wet fingers accidentally hit play. Saw your post. How's the hot pot? Remember that cake shop you wanted to try last year? I picked some up since I was nearby. Last year's birthday wish. He'd never bothered before. Now he was playing the devoted lover for the cameras. I stared at the screen. The irony bitter. The light above my head was blocked by Lucas. Can you help me? He held that roll of bandages in his hand. Didn't you just say you could handle it yourself? Changing dressings. Wrapping bandages. My arms weren't long enough, forcing me to awkwardly encircle him with both hands. In this northern rental unit, the weak heating couldn't combat the snowy rain seeping through old wall cracks. Freezing as it was, we maintained deliberate distance. My fingertips only brushed against gauze. His face remained stubbornly turned away. Unlike those southern rental days, sweltering and lightless. Scorching heat, yet we'd clung desperately as if each embrace might be our last. Pop. The tungsten bulb flickered on. We stood beneath its harsh glare now. Back when we'd been poorest. We'd repaired that ancient fixture repeatedly rather than replace it. Its erratic buzzing haunted midnight hours. At 18, Lucas had whispered, "Every flicker means I'm thinking of you." Tonight, in our age of abundance, the bulb crackled incessantly. I looked up. "Didn't you fix it properly?" His expression froze before meeting my gaze. "No. Left it broken on purpose." "Why?" "Fixed bulbs don't speak." My breath caught. He took the bandage from me, deftly wrapping his own injury. "Olivia." My name sounded foreign in his mouth. "Yeah. Hot pot or cake?" People shouldn't lie about food preferences. "Hot pot." Nothing happened. Of course. Lucas lay cocooned in thin bedding, breathing shallowly on the floor. I stared at water-stained ceilings. Insomnia clawing at me. The bulb's ghostly afterimage pulsed behind my eyelids, countless unspoken flickers in the dark. The bed creaked too loudly. Every turn brought squeaks. I used to complain about this to Lucas too. But those complaints always ended with a resigned sigh. "Lucas. Don't, take it easy." We'd been insatiable in our youth. Now, every shift brought metallic groans. The sound made me remember. And I wasn't the only one remembering. Lucas threw off the blanket, his gray tee hanging loosely as he stepped outside. The door clicked shut behind him. Neon lights painted his silhouette as a cigarette glowed between his fingers. He hadn't smoked when we first met, been such a good boy. Still didn't really smoke now. Just let it burn. Headlights swept across the parking lot as Ethan emerged from a car. "Cake delivery," Ethan explained, peering through our window. His gaze lingered on the separate bedding arrangements, mine on the mattress, his on the floor. That knowing smirk appeared. "Can't help it." Ethan shrugged. "She's clingy." Two near strangers stood in awkward silence. Yet Ethan kept pushing. "She's been craving this forever. Only wants mine. When she sees it tomorrow," he flicked ash, meeting Lucas's stare. "You didn't know? I'm her first love." "Really?" The response came flat. "Why would I lie?" Ethan's grin turned sharp. "She joined that reality show to win me back." That cake never materialized by morning. During the post-show interviews, all four of us finally gathered. I arrived last, still damp-haired from my shower. A crew member handed me a headset. My slippery strands kept foiling the earpiece. Across the room, Ivy and Ethan drew question cards. As I fumbled, the device nearly fell, only to be caught by steady fingers. "Thanks." I reached for it, but Lucas didn't release his grip. Instead, he secured the headset himself, adjusting the mic with clinical precision. Not intimacy, just professionalism. Cameras rolled. Crowds watched. "Snagged," he muttered, our eyes briefly meeting through the glass partition. His breath brushed between my hair and headset. He had to lean in closer. From the other side, Ethan's voice drifted over. His peripheral glance swept over me and Lucas. A perfectly normal movement, if not for Lucas instinctively pressing his lips against my hair. That scent was too familiar. I rarely change products I'm accustomed to, even after all these years. My shampoo still carried this identical fragrance. The version he used to wash with. The studio plunged into abrupt silence. Ethan suddenly stood up. Lucas withdrew his hand, uttering with impeccably restrained politeness, "My apologies. It was accidental." The producer snapped into damage control. "Happens all the time. Let's continue the Q&A." Merely an instant, contact then separation. Too fleeting for Ethan to fully register. Must have been an accident. He reluctantly resumed his seat. Truth or dare style game. When I drew the first love card, the producer asked, "Was your first love your greatest romance?" Ethan propped his chin on his hand, casual demeanor sharpening as his gaze locked onto me. All eyes volleyed between us. Everyone assumed my first love had been him. Yes. At my answer, Ethan straightened, unable to stop his triumphant side-eye at Lucas. But the other man seemed distracted. Lucas turned toward the snowflakes drifting past the window. The glass reflected my face. Same question. The producer continued. Lucas? We were paired for this segment. Identical card prompts. Ivy wasn't his first love. No one knew who that person might be. She's detestable. Truly detestable. Lucas' voice was so soft the words nearly dissolved. The faintest tremor of uncharacteristic vulnerability clinging to their edges. The entire crew perked up, ears practically twitching for gossip. That's some lingering resentment. The producer probed. What did she do? Oh. He turned, languidly drawing out the syllable. Things like marrying someone else while claiming I remained her greatest love. The non sequitur baffled the room. Yet Ethan's brow involuntarily furrowed. The producer flipped the final card. Olivia, what would you say to your first love now? 100 safe responses flitted through my mind. What escaped was, I hope he doesn't hate me too much. Reasonable enough. The room interpreted it as reconciliation bait for Ethan. No one noticed Lucas' knuckles whitening against his knee. Ethan's usual nonchalant demeanor resurfaced. He raised an eyebrow, clearly intending to keep me hanging without offering any face-saving exit. It wasn't until Lucas responded to the same question with I lied earlier I don't hate her that Ethan finally sensed something amiss. Sunday night's live stream required both teams to return to the original hot spring resort. The producers crammed all four of us into one vehicle for maximum drama. Viewers still predominantly shipped Ethan and Ivy, though subtle shifts emerged in the comments. Unless you're as blind as Ethan, you'd join our ship. His oblivious ass still counting cash while we riot. Coincidence? Lucas never interacted with her before this show. The growing buzz around Lucas and me had even spawned an underground fan forum. Before boarding the car, a producer slipped me a secret mission card to open privately. Ethan took the wheel with cameras rolling throughout the vehicle. Ivy beat me to the passenger seat, turning with faux innocence. It's not labeled yours, right? You're not that petty. She flashed the ring Ethan gave her, an exact replica of my wedding band. For our on-screen characters, she preened. We didn't want you misunderstanding. Though I suppose you wouldn't grasp our artistic dedication like real actors do. Her eyes darted between me and the sleeping Lucas. Hungry for jealousy she never found. I focused on the mission card burning in my palm, frowny face, hold Lucas' hand without the other team noticing. Morning sunlight streamed through tropical foliage as we hit the highway. When tunnel lights flickered ahead, I glanced sideways. Lucas' hand rested inches away. Fingers casually draped midair. Darkness swallowed the car. His palm met mine in the fleeting anonymity of passing headlights. My heart pounded as I gathered courage. Reaching out, my fingertips brushed against skin that should have been still in sleep. A sudden cough made the hand shift position. Did he notice? Panic surged through me. I tried to withdraw but forced myself to keep it resting on the leather seat divider. Ivy. Olivia continued chatting. Don't you think the betrayed partner shares blame in a failed marriage? If she couldn't keep her man, others have every right to take him. The tunnel ended abruptly, sunlight flooding the car before I could retract my hand. Turning away, I began pulling back, only to have my fingers captured in sudden warmth. His palm pressed against mine, dry and electric. When I tried tugging free, Lucas simply interlaced our fingers tighter. The radio crooned an upbeat vintage tune about a woman discovering her husband's affair. The lyrics repeated like a taunt, he must have noticed by now? He must have noticed by now? 5 seconds before the song ended, Ethan glared through the rearview mirror from the driver's seat. Some people deserve being cheated on, he snapped. Too busy scrutinizing my reaction to notice our joined hands hidden in the sunlight. I'd forgotten. Lucas was possessive to madness. No clandestine hand-holding in darkness, only this brazen daylight claim. Week 3's live broadcast took us to coastal hot springs in a neighboring city. On the charter bus, the PD revealed Lucas and Olivia grew up in the same hometown. The episode's theme, revisiting Lucas' school days, caught everyone off guard. Especially Ethan, whose frown deepened as he turned toward my isolated seat. Not exactly. Lucas corrected. I was a transfer student. His troubled childhood, the abusive stepfather, gambling addict mother, was industry open secret, often weaponized by critics. I never realized your background was so colorful. Ethan sneered, contempt dripping through his mock concern. Seriously. What gives you the right to act so high and mighty? The tension crackled, Ethan's long-simmering resentment toward Lucas' meteoric rise after meeting Ivy's father. The entertainment mogul who'd reshaped Lucas' destiny at 19. Now, he's divorced from Ivy, terminated his contract with the company, and is completely resourceless. All those assets will flow to Ethan instead. The car remained silent. The fact that he managed to grow up decently is impressive enough, I said calmly, resting my chin in my hand. Different starting lines. What's there to compare? We got out to explore the city streets. Our group arrived at Lucas's alma mater, 13th High. The school built on a hillside where the campus gates opened directly to the ocean. You attended 13th High too? Ethan walked beside me, though I'd mentioned this before. His smile didn't reach his cold eyes. So you never crossed paths with Lucas? 25 classes per grade. Different graduating years. Lucas trailed behind us. At my words, he lifted his gaze, dark eyes locking onto mine. She's my senior, Lucas said, the word senior rolling off his tongue with deliberate weight. The title inexplicably grated on Ethan. He strode ahead, demanding we move to the next location, a bus stop. The PD asked Lucas for the live audience, was your first love also from 13th High? Lucas had somehow ended up standing next to me. Yeah, he answered the PD without glancing my way. She was intense. He'd always described me that way. With 1,000 students per grade, our paths shouldn't have crossed. Except Lucas kept skipping class, and I happened to be the grade-level officer catching truants. Could you let it slide this time? 16-year-old Lucas stood before me, lean frame, broad shoulders, eyes sparkling with mischief beneath his tousled hair. No. He claimed to be sneaking into free underground art exhibits. Those useless creative pursuits parents warned about. For a moment, his docile tone made me think he'd returned to class. Instead, he whistled softly and vaulted over the wall with athletic ease. From beyond the barrier, he turned with riverstone eyes gleaming wild and free. Go ahead. Report me, senior. My bathroom buddy turned CEO friend later found me glaring at Lucas holding court under the campus oak, surrounded by giggling freshmen clutching love letters. I can't stand rule breakers, I muttered, watching the scene from the covered walkway. He heard it. Where did he get such sharp hearing? His dark eyes glanced over with a smirk. Our paths should have never crossed. Until that day when someone followed me home. I told my mom, but she was too busy divorcing my dad. After listening, she turned and said coldly, "If I leave your father," her face frozen in detached bitterness, "I only want your sister." My sister was everyone's favorite. She dated some dropout, then dumped him for a hotter guy. Not wanting to be the bad guy, she told him innocently, "My sister doesn't approve." That dropout was the one who'd stalked me. He got my number. Texted, "I know your homeroom. Watch your back. Spend a week in juvie just to see you bleed. Bitch." The shadow kept trailing me home. Those guys would do anything. At the 13th middle school bus stop under night snow, Lucas waited. His dangerous eyes flickered between moods. All sharp edges and don't fuck with me aura. I planted myself beside him. Pretended we knew each other. He raised an eyebrow. looking past me to the lurker. Still here? Get lost. Lucas oozed menace. It worked, they backed off. He walked me home. Senior. He said. Truth is, I don't fight. All bluff. Yet he played it better than anyone. I'm sorry. I mumbled. Guilt heavy. Thanks for getting involved. He stepped in front of me. Stopped. His shadow swallowed the streetlight's halo. Not that. His voice was clear wind chimes. I meant, I'm the obedient type. I believed him. Maybe he really did sneak out just to watch movies. Those clear eyes held no deceit, until next day, when I saw him in the alley directing his crew to beat those dropouts. His gaze turned hollow, radiating a worn-out viciousness that didn't belong on a teenager. He turned his head, flicking the lighter up and down until the guy begged for mercy. After that, no one dared mess with me. During my sophomore year, I was studying in the provincial capital when my sister called. Mom still doesn't want to see you. You look too much like Dad, she said. When I asked what she really wanted, she giggled. That pale hottie from your high school. Lucas? You got his number? Blood ties always made me weak. I could never fully cut them off until that day. I blocked her number and didn't speak to her for decades. Through my marriage and divorce. Lucas had just finished college entrance exams then. We hadn't talked in 3 years. Practically strangers. After our 3rd episode did well, the production team wanted to film the 4th in my current city. But that'd repeat last week's setting. They argued. Where'd you go to college? My answer made the crew exchange glances. Wait. Isn't that where Lucas attended university too? Ethan looked up, his gaze lingering on me with growing restlessness. The 4th episode's live broadcast coincided with the finale of Ethan and Ivy's new drama. His agent had expected hateful hashtags about me to flood Weibo by this promotional phase. Instead, the bizarre chemistry between me and Lucas started overshadowing their official CP. Olivia and Lucas act like strangers on camera. But something's fishy. Their car ride in episode 2 had weird tension. I'm addicted to Ethan's misery the saltier he gets, the happier I become. Ethan's team retaliated by buying trending tags, #Olivia is manipulative, #Olivia wasted Ethan's prime. Some burner account posted, they're already divorced, that got thousands of likes within an hour. The account kept liking pro-Ethan/Ivy comments before posting my photo disheveled in pajamas. Face sallow. Caption frowny face, no wonder he left you. That photo, Ethan had taken it during his flu when I cooked congee despite menstrual cramps. He'd insisted on documenting my caring wife's efforts, though I hated how I looked. Years later during divorce proceedings, I found the truth in his phone records. He'd sent that same photo to Ivy that very day. She's so ugly. I can't take it anymore. The comments under that photo post didn't go as the burner account had hoped. Some reasonable netizens started attacking them instead. How is doxing okay? This photo's way too private, who even are you? Don't we all look like this at home? The account frantically deleted comments before finally panicking and removing the photo altogether. Did you create that burner account to harass Ivy? Ethan called me the night before the live stream. He sent a screenshot of an account I recognized, one of his former hardcore fans now trashing both him and Ivy online. Ethan's career was peaking during this critical PR window. The public still thought he was married. Making his decision to join this controversial reality show with Ivy to push their CP narrative seemed utterly unhinged. Fans joked he'd been possessed. While their ship gained traction, his solo stans were abandoning him fast. But nobody knew the truth. He'd taken the show to whitewash his affair by framing me. That account used to support you. Have you forgotten? He paused. Wait, it wasn't you? Of course not. I almost hung up, amused by the absurdity. Regardless, he pressed. Ivy's crying. Her unhappiness is your fault too. Impatience sharpened his tone. Olivia, you need to apologize. Ethan, are you actually upset about Ivy's tears, or your crumbling fanbase? He overcompensated with condescension. Getting bold now? Buying into those delusional rumors about you and Lucas? Why don't you go chase him instead? His mocking laugh crackled through the receiver. Save us both the trouble. In the past, I'd have backed down. This time, I said, fine. I knew you'd never. Wait. What? He heard me clearly. I hung up without repeating it. During the weekend live stream, Ethan's team waited for me to crack. Instead, he messed up. While blow-drying Ivy's hair, he handed her the dryer and instinctively said, Here, Olivia. He didn't notice his slip until seeing Ivy's frozen expression. Lucas skipped the event. Fresh off his film's international nomination, he'd flown overseas that night. I wandered our old college town alone. Returning to the hotel, I found Ethan waiting by my door. Why aren't you comforting Ivy over dinner? The crew later said Ethan personally requested to reinstate our original married couple pairing for the show. The original show setup was the same. The producer told me it would just be tonight. Hotel suite. I checked the camera positions around the room. Ethan closed the door behind him, his expression coldly composed. A spread of dishes covered the smoked glass table. Eat, he said. I made these myself. He'd never done anything like this during our marriage. When I didn't touch my chopsticks, he smirked. What's wrong? You seem to enjoy meals just fine over at his place. I stated plainly. Looking at your face kills my appetite. His pupils constricted briefly before he masked his reaction with another smile. Because I spent 2 weeks with Ivy. You're giving up. Olivia. It's work obligations. You can't throw jealous fits every time. Ethan was both performing for the cameras and clinging to his old assumption that I'd leap at any crumb of affection. But I wasn't that person anymore. When I moved my things to the other bedroom, his face turned ashen. He sat alone at the dining table as the food grew cold, my bedroom door remaining firmly shut. With a bitter laugh, he eventually called room service to clear away the entire feast. Every staff member had keys to the suite. That night, sleep came fitfully. Sometime in the darkness, I felt lips brush my forehead, fleeting yet undeniable, carrying the chill of midnight winter air. During breakfast after the next live broadcast, Ethan seemed buoyant. His late-night performance had improved public perception. The live chat exploded. Frowny face, poor Ethan. Why is Olivia being like this? It's literally a divorced couple's version of a dating show. Ivy should come save him. You delusional shippers realize he messed up Ivy's name last week? Stop pushing this fake devotion act. Rumor says they're already divorced. His agent informed him the PR groundwork was set. They'd announce our divorce next episode. After using me for clout and playing the wrong lover, he'd get his redemption arc through Ivy's healing presence in the finale. No outbursts. No matter what happens this week, his agent warned. Sipping coffee, Ethan glanced at me with smug assurance. What could possibly go wrong? He knew I'd overheard, yet remained certain I'd stay silent. The ironclad NDA and massive settlement guaranteed it. He still deposits guilt money in my account weekly. Pathetic. Really. His gaze was contemptuous, no matter what. You'll never measure up to Ivy. And you'll never have me. His lips kept moving, but I wasn't listening. When he paused to sip his coffee, I casually asked, Was it you who kissed me last night? The door stood open as crew members shuffled past with equipment. Why would I? He frowned mid-sentence. Realization dawning. The sudden silence made the crew's chatter outside painfully clear. How'd you get boba? Lucas brought breakfast and pastries for everyone at 5 a.m. You missed it? Damn. I was taking a shit. Lost out on freebies. Here. Have mine. Why'd he come back? Isn't he supposed to be at the film festival? Said there's something crucial he had to do first. Flew from Beijing just to turn around for overseas? Dude's crazy. Heard he's running a fever too. The real kisser, I began. Ethan stiffened. He slammed the door shut but remained facing it. Shoulders tense. Cut the act. He suddenly whirled, yanking me off the couch and slamming me against the door. You knew he was coming. Made up that kiss story to piss me off. His laugh sounded hollow. Eyes dead. Disgusting. Olivia. You really think he'd want you? Even if that idiot did. His grip tightened. It'd only be to get back at me for taking his girl. Got it? He shoved me away. Pathetic. Then again. This is your MO. Who'd want you otherwise? I listened calmly, then swung the crystal ashtray at his temple. The dull thud echoed. Blood trickled down his face as he stared. Stunned. You, how could you? Knox interrupted. Ethan? We found something. Panicked. He stuffed bloody tissues into the trash. Just bumped my head. The producer blinked at me calmly, replacing the ashtray. Ethan snatched the document, a faded rental ledger copy. The tenant's name was mine, Olivia. $800. Every month. Those paying had to confirm with handwritten signatures. But that signature, at this very moment, separated by a dozen-hour flight distance. The flamboyant scrawl freshly signed on the film festival red carpet backdrop was identical. Lucas Miller. Southern cities have long, muggy summers. The summer of my sophomore year, I met Lucas Miller. I worked part-time at the tutoring center downstairs while he did modeling gigs upstairs. We knew of each other, but never exchanged greetings. After all, how familiar could two people be after 3 years of radio silence? His commute to campus spanned the entire city, 3.5 hours by bus. Meanwhile, I'd rented a temporary studio nearby. On the most sweltering night of that heat wave, during typhoon warnings, I was the last to lock up. Upstairs, a group passed by laughing. Lucas had grown taller again, standing out even at the back. He never once glanced my way. By the time I reached the elevator lobby, they'd already descended. Empty. We could have greeted each other. Former schoolmates. After all. Shouldering my bag, I headed downstairs. Typhoon nights hold their rain until dawn. The ink-black sky stained unnatural deep pink. There Lucas stood, drowning in a black hoodie, bangs obediently framing his face. Under the porch light, his eyes held summer night clarity. Like some stray puppy. Senior. The buses stopped running. That night, I took him to my $800 rented closet of a room. The bed barely qualified as furniture. Years later, when he stood accepting top acting honors as Hollywood's Prodigy Award-winning actor, I'd still be eating instant noodles in that same studio. Only one thought ever surfaced. His 18-year-old self, crammed onto that pathetic mattress. What a come-down. I never understood. Media paints him as this untamable wildfire, all arrogant fearlessness and overflowing talent. But the boy from that summer stayed obedient in my memory. Helpful with chores. Cooking 3 meals daily. Always senior this. Senior that. Except in bed. There. Mischief took over. That voice curling around Olivia like forbidden candy. Crossing lines. Defying every command. Later I'd realize where his true genius lay. Oh. And that modeling agency upstairs? Never existed. 3.5 hours. Just to catch glimpses of me. Over and over again. To watch me return home safely. If he escorted me once, he'd have to do it 1,000 times. Ethan wasn't angry. He seemed drained of all emotion. Confronting a truth within seconds: his first love wasn't me. It was a man who bore 70% resemblance to him. A prize he'd strived for yet never grasped. While that man had claimed it at 19. Since his debut, he'd been treated as replacement. Ethan crumpled the paper in his palm without comment. What's the big deal? He sneered. Ancient history. Means nothing. He turned away without sparing me a glance. Yet at the doorway, he collapsed straight onto the floor. Ethan fulfilled his agent's expectations this episode, pitiful enough to trend. Everyone assumed he'd been hospitalized from heartbreak, skyrocketing him onto the trending list. When he awoke, I was organizing belongings at the hotel. His gaze swept the room. Ivy stood vigil by his bedside. But I wasn't there. "Where's my wife?" he asked Ivy. She trembled with rage, slapping him repeatedly. The variety show halted production, indefinitely postponed. Ivy visited me once. Though she'd already won him, she kept flaunting their relationship in my face, as if our entanglement was necessary to anchor their love. He grew weary of her dramatics. She couldn't endure his indifference, mirroring how Ethan and I used to be. When passion fades, they'll face the same crossroads we did. Falling for someone like Ethan. Ivy naively believed she'd be the exception. She wasn't. Realizing this early on, she'd attacked me countless times during filming. In real life. Like that first ambush on the plane when I was defenseless. Each subsequent assault fed her superiority complex, validating her choice. Now she sat across from me, all fire extinguished, leaving only icy eyes and trembling hands. "Why aren't you angry anymore?" I rose without answering. Her laughter followed me. "Let me share a secret," she said. Her marriage to Lucas? Stolen through deception. Ivy thought she could always warm Lucas's heart. After all, he owed the Thompson family such a huge debt. If it weren't for her father pulling him out of that $100 rental shack, he'd still be gutter trash scraping the bottom of society. She believed he'd at least be infatuated with her, while Lucas spent his whole life scrambling toward success. Ivy was born into it. Yet he remained indifferent. I thought someone like him couldn't love. But do you know what I discovered after marriage? All his passwords were 207. At first I thought it was someone's birthday, until I realized it was that shitty apartment number. Turns out he's still hung up on whoever loved him during his rock-bottom days. Pathetic. When I finally took my vacation days, obtained the visa, and sat in the airport lounge watching dramas with my luggage, someone slid into the seat beside me, Ethan in full disguise. "We need to talk." His reflection shimmered in the airport's floor-to-ceiling windows. Black hoodie hanging loose on his thinner frame. The faint scar on his forehead hadn't fully healed. "What's your real reason for joining that reality show?" He answered his own question. "Not to win me back, but to see Lucas. Right? Hell, you only married me because I look like him?" I checked my boarding time instead of responding. "Olivia," he spat. "Is lying this fun for you? Enjoy playing with my feelings?" I cut him off. "What feelings? You're the cheater. You're the one who claimed to be crazy about Ivy. You set me up with that rigged reality show. I'm just returning the favor. Since when did you become the victim?" My voice hardened. "If I were still the Olivia who loved you, would you even let me finish a sentence before storming off?" I threw his own words back at him. Some people deserve betrayal. As I boarded, my dying phone buzzed with Ethan's final text, frowny face, "I'll destroy you both." Ethan always believed inflicting pain would make others understand. If Lucas and I got publicly ruined, I'd come crawling back. What he couldn't admit was whether this revenge stemmed from my leaving, or from years of industry insiders comparing him to Lucas whenever they met. That festering inferiority complex had finally erupted. He had our divorce show re-edited into uncensored footage and released it on Lucas's award ceremony day. His social media post said it all, frowny face, "She cheated. We're divorced." The internet exploded. Ethan and his team thought they'd won by striking first. After all, I'm a civilian and Lucas lacks PR resources. But they forgot one thing about quiet people when pushed too far. We fight dirtier. The night passed in a blur. Ethan's hands trembled with excitement as he barely had time to open Weibo to celebrate before his door was pounded. He got arrested. His agent got arrested too. On the day we signed the divorce papers. He thought I was drowning in grief. When I checked his phone, he assumed I was seeking reassurance of his affection. Little did he know I was gathering evidence. The day Ivy approached me on the flight, I called my best friend the moment we landed. I'd long suspected Ethan of tax evasion. My friend taught me how to collect proof and file reports. Then casually added, "This'll take time. You should play along, isn't he begging you to join that stupid reality show? Use it to lower his guard." I went for revenge. Meeting Lucas wasn't part of the plan. When Ethan later released the uncut reality show footage, internet sleuths dissected every frame. Through viral analyses and influencer takedowns, netizens exposed Ethan and Ivy's affair, dates, times, and locations all matched. My reunion with Lucas? That happened after both our divorces. A statistical anomaly. Using the backstage pass from Lucas's assistant, I slipped into the awards ceremony abroad. A French director challenged him during the champagne-fueled celebration, shouting over thumping music, "Dare to bet? What's the wager?" Lucas covered his ears. Leaning in, the Frenchman murmured something. "I'm in," Lucas said. He lost. His friends surrounded him, flicking his forehead as punishment. Amid violet lighting and falling gold confetti, Lucas walked toward me through the haze, eyes suspiciously glazed. "Seriously?" His friend scoffed. "You didn't make a sound when that horse kicked you on set. But a few forehead flicks make you tear up? Stop acting." Lucas turned away. "None of your business." Another friend nudged toward me at the doorway. His audience arrived. Of course he's performing now. He pushed through the crowd, closing the distance between us. "What was the bet?" I asked when he reached me. "They wagered whether we'd see our lovers tomorrow." I said no. His arms circled my waist. I lost. His breath warmed my ear. "I'm seeing her today, sweetheart." Many years later, my best friend laughed for a full 10 minutes upon hearing me describe Lucas this way. "Baby, how's that possible?" she said. If Lucas were still that naive, he wouldn't have survived this long. They say some people are born into rock-bottom circumstances. For others it's a joke. For Lucas, it was reality. His mother literally gave birth to him in a public restroom. He never knew his father. By 7, he was grocery shopping and cooking meals. He watched his alcoholic mother get beaten by men again and again. Yet she never left them. As a child, he'd curl beside her, rubbing ointment on her wounds and warming her hands with his. He loved her unconditionally because she was Mom. It wasn't until high school that Lucas discovered his mother had been breaking up families. He traced her footsteps from school to strangers' homes, too terrified to approach. Outside on stone steps, he'd hear women's hysterical screams and men's icy silence inside. The boy doodled aimlessly in the dirt, wishing he could disappear. In those moments, Lucas would have rather died than watch his mother's shame. Later, when Mr. Thompson gave Lucas his big break with a 10-year entertainment contract, those prime career years generated wealth that never touched Lucas' hands. Every penny flowed to the Thompsons, trapped working endless hours to repay billions in penalties. Lucas contemplated ending it all during his darkest year. What was the point? His entire existence felt like atonement. In his cramped room, he typed 207 repeatedly on an old flip phone. "When I stop missing her," he vowed, "I'll end it." But that day never came. He thought of her every second. When Ivy's pursuit of Lucas dominated trending lists, I assumed he'd never return to me. That's why I said yes to Ethan. I needed money and resources. I couldn't stay alone in that $800 rental forever. A year later, Lucas saw my wedding announcement trending. Mr. Thompson, the man who'd both elevated and entrapped him, lay dying. After months of agonizing treatments, he finally offered freedom. "Marry Ivy." Secure her shares. Then divorce and go. Lucas agreed. Married. Divorced. Done. Until Ivy wanted him on a reality show. That stormy night at the hot springs resort. Our first words in years came through a heart rate monitor I strapped to his wrist. You need to wear this. Lucas' pulse spiked. She'll see right through me, he thought. He didn't know how much familial debt one had to repay to finally feel free. He didn't know when the ledger of gratitude would be cleared for good. There's no such thing as unconditional love in this world, he thought. But Olivia only wanted him to be happy. That year, we hiked up the mountain to pray. I closed my eyes, holding a secret wish too private to voice aloud. Let Lucas find joy. Let everyone reunite with those they long to see. No matter how many years it takes.